Support for this episode of YXE Underground comes from Rob Romvey and his team at RBC Dominion Securities in North Battleford. If you are looking for the right person to manage your money, you should chat with Rob Romvey.
Our motto is serving the community's greatest need. And so your community is where you live, your community is your province. And it's just what we do as kin. We step in where we're needed and help where we're needed.
Hello, I'm Eric Anderson. The voice you just heard belongs to Raelynn Nicholson. She, along with Tyler Hall, are the featured guests in Season 6, Episode 6 of YXE Underground. For the past 48 years, the Kinsmen Foundation and Telemiracle has been raising money to improve the quality of life and independence of Saskatchewan residents. Their generosity is huge, and the province rallies every year to support the Telemiracle fundraising event on television. But you might not know about all the work that goes on behind the scenes all year round to connect the Kinsmen Foundation with people in need. We learn about this incredible work in this episode of YXE Underground. I can vividly remember being 8 years old, sitting on the living room floor next to my sister in our home in Swift Current, eagerly waiting for our names to slowly scroll across the bottom of the screen during Telemiracle. I'm sure I'm not the only one who has a memory like this. I think Telemiracle is one of those Saskatchewan institutions that just seems to bring people together. The fact that this 2-day annual fundraiser raises millions of dollars to help people in need, whether it's a piece of medical equipment or to help cover the costs of travel for a medical procedure, is of course something worth celebrating. But it's only been in the last few years that I've learned about all the work that happens year-round by a passionate group of volunteers that connects people in need with the Kinsmen Foundation. These volunteers are from across Saskatchewan and often meet at the Kinsmen Foundation headquarters here in Saskatoon. I've also learned that Kinsmen and Telemiracle volunteers share a few common traits. Richard Keys shared these traits with me a few weeks ago. He is the executive director of the Kinsmen Foundation.
It's a passion that they have. I think they're all very committed to the work that we do in terms of the mission that we have to help people improve their quality of life and independence. Through the gifts of mobility equipment, the gifts of travel funding for people that need to travel for urgent medical treatment. I think people are really caught up by the stories of the people and the impact, the people that we are able to help. I think another common trait is we like to say we're Saskatchewan's charity. It's one of our taglines, but we have representation from all over the province, every corner. And I think that's another aspect that's really unique. And you've got people from different walks of life, different communities, but they come together under a common cause. And I think that's something that unites them and have, another trait they have in common.
I wanted to learn more about these Kinsmen and Telemiracle volunteers and how they work with people and organizations across Saskatchewan. So Richard was kind enough to introduce me to Raelynn Nicholson and Tyler Hall. Raelynn is the Kinsmen Foundation board chair and lives in Assiniboia, Saskatchewan. Tyler Hall is this year's Telemiracle chair, and he lives in Mortlach, Saskatchewan. They are volunteers who love making a difference in the lives of people, and as you are about to hear, their roots run deep when it comes to Kinsmen and Telemiracle. I was lucky to catch them both in Saskatoon last month, and we met for coffee at the Broadway Roastery on 8th Street. We cover a lot of ground in just over a half hour, like how the volunteer board decides where to spend its money, and what it's like getting to really know families in need. We also discuss why this work means so much to Raelynn and Tyler, and as you'll hear, they have a lot of fun working together. I started our conversation by asking Raelynn how the process works for people and organizations to get in touch with the Kinsmen Foundation to say, hey, we could use some help.
So the foundation board has 9 meetings a year between September and June. So we have 9 separate deadlines where you go on www.telemiracle.com and click I want to apply, and you can send in an application for whatever. You need information, like if you need a piece of equipment, you need a occupational therapist referral, and you need a couple quotes, and you just send us your taxes. And then the girls at the office, we have a grants team. They prepare all the applications and send them out to the board, and then once a month we meet, and there's a representative that gets assigned your application. They're your advocate. They present your application to the board. They stick up for you. They try to get you your equipment. The board votes, and then the office makes sure you get your equipment.
Wow. So, have both of you been representatives then?
Yes.
What is that like?
It's pretty overwhelming. Like, you have probably, the average rep has about 5 to 10 applicants every meeting. So then you got to phone them and get to know them, what their story is, what they need, and then so you become part of their lives for 1 month of the year there, and then you fight for them and try and get what they need.
So I haven't been a rep. This is my 4th year on the board, so I was a rep the first 2 years, and I still, because we don't have home phones anymore, so our applicants all have our cell numbers, and so I still have applicants calling me and texting me from 2 years ago about, I also need an oxygen machine, or do you know where the patient lodge is next to this hospital in Montreal? Or they text us with good news and bad news, like for years after we are their representative.
So this is an ongoing relationship then?
Yep. Someone will phone you a year later and say, hey, I need help with this or whatever. So, yeah.
What is that like for you guys? Because up until that meeting, you might not know this person exists or this organization exists, and then all of a sudden, you're heavily involved. What is that like for you guys?
It's like the most life-changing thing I think you can be involved in as a Kinsman or Kinnette, because you're not just Betty that needs a walker. We know you. You're Betty. You used to work at Sears. You have 8 great-grandkids. Or you're not just Mason that needs a van. You play sledge hockey, and you were born on Christmas Day. Like, we literally find out as much as we can to make them real people to the board, and not just somebody with a injury or something that needs equipment. They're actually real people.
Is it then? What is it like? You get to know them a little bit, but it sounds like those relationships go on. But as you're getting to know them, and then you finally present to the board, what are those presentations like?
Yeah, some are pretty emotional when you get like a kid that's born that needs surgery or whatever, and they have to go fly to Edmonton. Like, it pulls on your heartstrings. Like, it's a lot. Some meetings. Like, some of us are crying around the table. And so, like, some days are pretty hard, but you're doing the best for their family. And
like, I was just thinking that, Tyler. Like, this is, it's not just a cold call to find out information, but you're getting to know the people, aren't you?
Yep, you get to know them as much as you can about them. To try and fight for them and get the money they need, and so.
Do you guys remember like the first? I was going to say. Like, it's not a pitch, but you're presenting the story. Do you remember like the first one that you did? Yeah, Raelynn, you're nodding. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. You're super nervous because you feel like the board is against you, but actually everyone on the board is rooting for everyone else on the board. But you're literally the advocate for whatever you're presenting, and you're the only one that's sticking up for them against all the questions that's being asked about their finances or their need, and you have to know all your facts and be able to give all the correct information to get the board to vote yes for you.
I was going to say, you have to really know your stuff.
Oh yeah.
And what, like, does it feel like you're in a hot seat a little bit when you're in that moment?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. Like, you'll have some reps question you on their taxes or something, and you're like, you got to know the answer. If you don't, like, you have to table the applicant for another month, and then it's put off. So, like, you got to know all the information and have your ducks in a row. And so, hopefully, get everything presented at that meeting.
Yeah, and the other thing is, a lot of the applications, when we're talking to them, they're at the most vulnerable point that they've had in their lives. They've just had a sick baby, or they've just had a stroke, or they've just found out they had cancer. And so they're very vulnerable, and they have a lot of turmoil going on in their lives. And then we're phoning them and asking them some really hard questions so that we can do the best job on their behalf. So
to advocate for them. So at every meeting, you're doing like 5 to 10 of these per meeting?
yes.
And
So there's on average, about 100 every meeting. So like 1,000 a year.
so, wow. Like that's an incredible number. And so you're, not only do you have to share these stories, but you're listening to so many too. What is that like?
It's draining, but also rewarding, right? Some of the stories are completely shocking. Like, how did that even happen? How did that ever happen? Oh, those poor people. But then to know that we help them in their time of need it just fills your cup.
Yeah, like the same thing as Raelynn said. It's a lot of work, but it's very rewarding in the end.
Yeah, no kidding. Do you guys ever just need to, like, do you ever take a break, like, in the meeting, or just like, there's only so much, just take a break?
We take some Kleenex breaks where we pass around boxes of Kleenex. We take some in the summer, go outside breaks. In the winter, just step off into another office breaks. Sometimes people have to compose themselves, and yeah, it gets very emotional.
When you were talking though about, like, you're making these connections, like, over the phone, and you're asking some tough questions, and yet do you get a sense that the people on the other line are they grateful to be able to tell their story in a way and to share what's going on?
Yeah, there's some that'll just open right up to you and tell you their whole life story. Like, you didn't want all this information sometimes, but you just get it. And yeah, you just love it, what they're doing, and so.
Do you get that too, Raelynn, where they open up?
Oh yeah, I'm a nurse, and so I by trade ask people lots of questions, and so it just comes naturally to me to get all the information out of you when you don't even know I'm actually doing it, just casually through conversation. Yeah.
So this goes on for 9 months, and you're gathering information, you're sharing stories, you're listening to stories. At what point then do you start making decisions in terms of yes, we can provide support for this person or this organization? Like, when does that happen?
So Tyler would present his application. He'd make a motion for whatever piece of equipment they need or money for travel. He makes a motion, he presents his application, and we vote right then.
Oh, so you do it right then in the meeting?
Yeah, and then the next day, we meet on Saturdays and sometimes Sunday mornings. And then as soon as the meeting is adjourned, the reps start calling all their applicants and telling them if they were approved for funding or not.
Okay, what are those calls like?
Yeah, some are just overwhelming. Some are just in tears, and the next person is just speechless, and so it's pretty rewarding. Then you get it really pulls on the heartstrings. Then when you make somebody's day or even year, like yeah.
Because in my mind, I was thinking, you're going to have to wait a long time to find it, but it's right on that day. Do you like that there's that immediacy, like, okay, we're yes or no kind of deal?
Yeah, because it's important to the applicant, right? Their piece of mobility equipment is important, or knowing if they have funding to go to Toronto is important. So to be able to deal with it right away that month, and then telling them, yes, get that walker ordered, or yes, buy your ticket to Toronto, right? Because they're depending on it.
Yeah, they need to know.
Yeah.
Are there sometimes hard conversations to have if it's bad news, or like what are those conversations like?
Yeah, we are the funder of last resort, so some people do get denied either because they have too much savings personally, or there's another program that will fund them, such as the paraplegia program or the muscular dystrophy program or the home adaptation grant through the government. So sometimes we deny people because someone else will pay for it, and that makes us not the funder of last resort. And so we try to tell everybody to call all your defeats, your no's first, because they're really hard conversations, and then call all your happy calls after, so that you end on a a happy note.
It's a lot of responsibility on your shoulders.
Yeah, it is, like, to do all that. So
Yeah, like it's a lot on your shoulders. Yeah.
Yeah, you know how badly everyone needs this stuff and how hard it is if you have a baby that was born with a complication and you immediately have to fly and we're asking you, can you give me your income tax, and you haven't been home for 6 weeks. Like we understand their struggle and they understand that we need that information, so it's kind of a give and take.
But like both of you must have outstanding like communication skills to be able to like not only ask questions but then to you must have like not only communication but empathy as well. Like, do you think it takes a special person to do this unique role that you both are doing?
yeah, it takes a special person to dedicate all the time to do all this, and then be an advocate for that person to make sure you're doing what's best for them and getting what they need. So.
Yeah, we try to cultivate it. Everyone is a volunteer on the board, everyone. And so we don't know who's coming to the board every year. And so we, try to tell them this is how it works. And we give them examples of presentations and how to make the phone calls to ask the questions. And we try to cultivate it in our members. But mostly Kinsmen and cadets already have that part of their personality because they're volunteers already.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you've gone this far, it's not too big of a leap to go to where you are in terms of being on the board and making these phone calls. Yeah, I'm just thinking though, like for the average person, like this is it might be a challenge, and especially I think now today too, like we do so much electronic like emails or texting, and yet you're picking up the phones. I walked right into that one, but yeah, and you're getting to know them. That's amazing. I'm so curious too. Like in your years, when you make these connections, and especially the good phone calls you get to make, do you get to see people afterwards, or like it sounds like you stay in touch a bit and some, but like do you get to see them at all?
Yeah, sometimes you run into them in the community and stuff, and we do pick some for testimonials at Telemiracle. So some do come to Telemiracle, and so you do see some in your communities and stuff, especially when you're a rep in that community and you get funding in that community. So
has that happened with you, Tyler?
Yeah, I've had a couple applicants that actually came from my town, and I didn't know they lived there, and then now I know who they are and everything too. So
yeah, like how does that make you feel, knowing that like you played a role in helping them get the care that they need? How does that make you feel?
Yeah, it's pretty overwhelming. Like you change your life like for the better, and then they're very thankful for it. And I've had people come up and thank me personally, shake my hands, and just the gratitude. So
Gratitude's a perfect word for it, isn't it?
And it's that 3 degrees, 6 degrees of separation, whatever. I called an applicant. He was in the hospital, and he was in the bed next to Tyler's dad. Like, small world.
Wow, that's crazy. And Raelynn, have you had those experiences too, where you've encountered people like years later, or even like months later, or even at the show?
Well, same. I'm from a small town, so I know some of the applicants that get things, but one of our testimonials this year, actually, the Dipple family, I got to meet them at an event we put on, and you've talked to them on the phone, and you know all about them, and then to meet them in person is just amazing. It's great. Yeah.
Those must just be filled with emotions, hey? Like when you actually get to see the people.
Yeah, because you're like, oh, like we got that for you, like we want that.
Yeah. That's so great. All of this ties in with the very very public show, the fundraiser show. So when all of this behind the scenes work is happening, and thank you so much for you both for explaining that, because I didn't know, and I don't think a lot of listeners would realize all the work that goes in behind the scenes. How does that then connect with the actual Telemiracle show and like deadlines, and like Tyler, you're in charge of it this year. Like how does it all connect?
Yeah, where Raelynn's committee looks after all the funding and applications. My committee looks after the show, putting it on. So raising the money. So yeah, I started 2 years ago. So I started designing the logo and picking my committee, and then at last year Telemiracle we started doing our training from the last year's committee. So we like shadowed them and learned what the position was. And yeah, we started for this year's Telemiracle way back before that Telemiracle even started last year. So
Wow.
yeah.
And do you have background in putting on a province-wide television fundraiser? Do you know what, like, did you have any idea in terms of like what all went into it?
Yeah, somewhat, because I've been on 3 committees now. This will be my 4th being the chair. And yeah, my family was in Telemiracle for years. My mom and dad were chairs and been on different committees, so I knew what was all involved. And until you're actually a chair and you're like, holy man, there's a lot of podcasts and interviews and all this communication and meetings you got to go to. Like, it's a lot of work, but very rewarding. So
That's good. Well, I appreciate your time. But yeah, like I think having used to work in the media, like for CBC, and I remember we would host like election coverage or whatever, and just seeing like the work that would go in, and that was for an hour one night, and Telemiracle is slightly longer than 20 hours. Is it at all intimidating to you, Tyler, or like the work, or is it joyous? What's it like?
yeah, sometimes it's overwhelming, but I do have a committee of 15 people looking after like transportation facilities, security, manpower, like food services. We got all the committee there, so they got all their roles, trying to put on the show, get all the volunteers. So I just got to look after making sure they're doing all their jobs. And so.
You mentioned though about like you started this a couple years ago, and then can you explain to people how each chair gets to have some input in terms of the logo? Because I think that's kind of neat.
Yeah, they asked me kind of what I wanted for a logo, and I had some ideas, but I wasn't sure how to do it. And I'm like, can you throw in some wheat and tiger lily for Saskatchewan? And my wife likes tiger lilies too, and I'm like, well, maybe even throw a grain elevator in there. So they put a logo together, the graphics designer in town here, and I'm like, yeah, perfect, I like it.
That's awesome.
So then I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't pick the first one, but it turned out I picked like the second one. So.
Okay, yeah, and it looks great. I'm looking at it right now. It looks awesome. Yeah. Do you by the time this podcast will come out, it'll be a couple weeks before the show, but today on, what are we, January 16th, how are you feeling about the show? How are you both feeling about the show? Raelynn's looking at Tyler right now, just like, it's like she wants to know too. How are you feeling, Tyler?
Oh, I'm feeling pretty good. Like, it is just over a month away, and we just had our kin volunteers numbers come in, and it looks like we're going to have enough volunteers, so that's all good. And yeah, plans are coming along pretty good. So I was just checking in with a couple committee members here this last couple days, and sounds like everything's coming together really good.
That's so great.
So it takes a lot off my shoulders when everything's coming together. So
how many volunteers?
there'll be 260 so far signed up. That's just kin volunteers. Then there's about 100 production volunteers that put on the cameras and the lights and the sound and all that. So yeah, there's going to be almost 400 people there.
That's amazing. Raelynn, how are you involved with the show as well? Like, what is your role?
So as the foundation chair, I am actually the boss of everyone. So I'm Tyler's boss.
It's like he's 13 all over again.
It's been a full circle moment when I get to boss Tyler around again after all these years. So, but as the chair, I'm on his committee. I don't necessarily. I have a job at the show just like every other volunteer. So, and it is a huge show, but it's our 48th one. So it's sort of a well-oiled machine. There's always little quirks and things to fix, but everyone kind of understands how it's going to go and what needs to be done, because we all have a manual. Every person has a manual, and with like, by this day you have to have this done, and by this day you have to have this done. So they've been working all year already, getting all their things checked off and lined up, and
That's so great. Yeah, because you're right. It's 48 years. It's not like you're just diving into the deep end. You know what you're doing. But as someone like I said, I've been watching this since I was a kid. I feel like it's one of the everyone in this province knows about Telemiracle, and if you're a newcomer to Saskatchewan, I'm sure you know really quickly about it. Is it when the actual show is going on? Are you so busy that it's like just focusing on the show, or do you have can you take a moment back and be like, this is pretty cool to be a part of?
Yeah, sometimes you're just so busy working, you just miss half the show. But then sometimes you take a moment to sit back and watch, and you're like, oh, this is happening. Like it happened so fast.
Yeah.
And then next you know, it's 5 o'clock on Sunday, and there's the final total, and it's just overwhelming. Sometimes.
Yeah.
We try, the committee all comes together as a group for the show, to watch the show opening together. We try to mark those special portions of the show as a group together. But when I get home, my husband will be like, did you see this or did you see that? And I'm like, nope, I didn't see anything. I don't know what happened.
Do you get a chance to have a nap at 3 a.m? Do you get a little shut eye?
The odd time you do, yeah. Sometimes it's only for a couple hours, but you try and get something because you know you got to go do it for another 10-hour shift or something the next day. So yeah.
We get a hotel room Saturday night. If you volunteer, you get a hotel room. But it's not for sleeping. It's for changing your clothes and brushing your teeth. That's all we do. We go back there, we change, put on deodorant, and brush our teeth, and we go back. Nobody really sleeps.
In my mind, I'm picturing all of you just being at the, whether it's TCU Place in Saskatoon or Connexus in Regina, you're there the whole time, but you do get a little bit of
We have 4 shifts. So it's 7 p.m. till midnight on Saturday night, midnight till 6 a.m., 7 a.m. till lunch, and then lunch till the close of the show. But nobody works one shift. Most people work 2, 3. Some people work all 4. And then depending what job you have. When I worked in Sask Talent, it closed at 2 usually, and we had to be back at 6. So...
Yeah, you get a couple hours to maybe refresh, so do it quick.
Yeah. And you have to wait for the shuttle to pick you up at the venue, and then you have to wait for the shuttle at the hotel, so that adds extra time back and forth. Yeah, it's...
I sincerely hope that listeners are hearing this and thinking to themselves, this is a lot of work. There's a lot of work behind the scenes. It's a lot of work on the day of. Why is this work important to you? Why you're volunteering to do this? Why are you doing this?
I just love helping people out and changing their life for the better. So that's what keeps me coming back and doing what I do. So.
And Tyler, you're we've established, you were 13 years old and you've been involved, but you saw this with your parents, right? Their commitment.
Yeah, Dad was at Telemiracle in the teens, and he was there till he passed a few years ago, and he just loved doing it. So,
yeah, and kind of carrying on his legacy then a little bit.
Yep, carrying on the legacy of Telemiracles, being a second generation kin. So, Telemiracle chair. That's awesome, Tyler. Yeah.
We have another girl on our committee, Alicia, who was also a kin kid and got dropped off in our room, and we bossed her around. And now she's a second generation kin on Tyler's committee. So we didn't scare them that bad. They stuck around.
There's a few Telemiracle second generation kin on my committee this year. So, yeah.
But that says something too about the organization, where it's obviously the values and the mission of the organization are connecting with people, hey?
Yeah, to have them come back year after year and have the second generation come, and probably have the third generation start coming too, and then you see that with your Sask Talent too, some of the parents even performed on Telemiracle, and now their kids are, and stuff like that, so it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah. Raelynn, why do you do this?
Well, I got tricked into joining Kinnetts 21 years ago.
How did you get tricked?
this lady moved to our town. She had been a cadet in another town, and she sent us all letters in the mail. It was 21 years ago, and was like, "Oh, come out to my farm. I want to talk to you about something." And then she was like, "We're gonna make a cadet club. You're all gonna join." And we're like, "Oh, okay, sure." And really, I had a baby then, so I was like, "Let's do it. I get away from my baby, fine." And once you go to work at Telemiracle once, you're hooked. You're hooked. It is the most electric atmosphere to be at Telemiracle. It is amazing.
So it's one thing to like you said, the atmosphere of the event, but you are volunteering, like you're meeting once a month for like 9-10 months, like and doing all the work that we've established. Like why it's one thing I think to be involved in the show, but you're so much more involved in that. Like why is it important to you?
Our motto is serving the community's greatest need. And so your community is where you live, your community is your province. And it's just what we do as kin. We step in where we're needed and help where we're needed. And I waited a long time. My friend Raelynn was foundation chair 10 years ago, and she was telling me, you need to be on the foundation, you'd be really good at it. But I had 2 kids, and I worked shift work, and we had a farm, and we have cows, and so I waited this long to get on the foundation board and do it. And it's an amazing, it's so much work. You can never understand how much work it is unless you do it, but it's so rewarding.
I really appreciate your guys' time because you're both very busy, but I want to thank you for the work that you do, and I'm sure I hope like you and your colleagues and all your volunteers experience the gratitude, because it's amazing work that you do. So thanks for sharing a little bit with me today. This was so much fun, and I learned so much from you both, so thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, thank you. And Telemiracle is February 24th and 25th, so you come on down if you want.
Well, so it's funny you mention that, because we have a resident at Sherbrooke who has worked really, really hard. And so, yes, and he's raised over $7,000. So we are just working logistically on how we get him down there. I might be driving the bus down there to Regina. So we'll see. You'll put me to work, Raelynn?
We could give you a job, 100%.
My job.
The last time we were in Regina, my girlfriend from there showed up to see us. She's not a cadet. And I was like, here, at the end of the show, we make a human chain from the stage all the way to Treasury, so that all the pledges get to Treasury as fast as possible. So I was like, here, stand right here, pass these papers, don't move. And I walked away and left her there.
Well, if you see me, throw me in the chain. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And bring those phones and buy your 50/50 tickets.
My thanks to Raelynn Nicholson and Tyler Hall for taking time out of their very busy schedules to share their passion for all things Telemiracle and Kinsmen Foundation on the podcast. You can learn more by visiting telemiracle.com. My name is Eric Anderson, and you have been listening to Season 6, Episode 6 of YXE Underground. I host, produce, and edit this local independent podcast. You can listen to YXE Underground wherever you find your favorite podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, or the website YXEunderground.com. Please feel free to leave a 5-star review if you like what you hear. You can follow YXE Underground on social media. Simply search YXE Underground on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. My thanks to Saskatoon's Danger Dynamite for creating and maintaining the website, and to my cousin Andrew Dixon for the original theme music. I also want to say thank you to Rob Romby and his team at RBC Dominion Securities in North Battleford for supporting this episode. Rob Romby is one of the kindest, smartest, most caring individuals you will ever meet. If you're looking for someone to take care of your money, or give you advice on investments, or give you advice about life, or great restaurants in any city across the world, you should really chat with Rob Romby, because he's one of the best people in the world, and he's surrounded by a great team at RBC Dominion Security. So get in touch with Rob, because he's just one of the nicest people you will ever meet. Before I go, I would like to acknowledge that these interviews were gathered on Treaty 6 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis. YXE Underground is a production of the Salthammer Production Company. My name is Eric Anderson. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you soon, Saskatoon.